Today we are talking about our septic system, but first, we need to jump back in time, way back to October of 2020. Before we were approved to even build a home, we were required to get a soil test. The purposes of a soil test are to prove the compaction properties and limitations of your soil, and to find out what the composition of the ground is, i.e., is it sandy or rocky? Does it have a lot of clay or is it very loose? Among other things. One of the most important things, aside from providing robust information about foundation details, is to discover what type of septic system to install. We live in a rural area. We are not on city water or sewage. This means we are required to have a standalone septic system. The entirety of our sewage, from toilets and sinks, will be handled here on our land. There are many pros and cons to this type of system. Let's let Joe from Southwest Septic tell us more.
The septic system has just been installed. We're not on the city system, and so we're required to have our own standalone septic system. I'll let you introduce yourself. This is the man who installed everything. Who are you? What do you do? Why are you here?
My name is Joe Dalton. I own Southwest Septic, and we do a lot of septic system installations. This is one of them. This is a on-site wastewater treatment system, like you said. The tie-in to the house is right here, where you exited your plumbing out of your wall.
Okay.
And I tied on with 245s because you can't use a 90 before the tank. That is a two-way cleanout, and that's required to be within 5 feet of the house.
That either way, Y is down at the bottom there.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's only required on the solid side for obvious reasons.
Sure.
Solids go down to the tank. This is at 2% slope here, minimum.
2%, what do you mean by that?
1/4 inch of fall per foot.
1/4 inch fall per foot, just like I did inside the house. What size of pipe is this? 4
4
inches.
inch.
What are we looking at here?
We're looking at the 1,500 gallon septic tank.
This capacity is pretty big, you were telling me.
Yeah, it'll cover
Okay.
5 bedrooms.
5 bedrooms, and what are these 3 lids here?
Okay, so the 3 lids, the first one being your solid chamber, as well as your T, which keeps the crust from backing up against the pipe and plugging your inlet.
Oh, very cool.
So that's that. This is just access to pump more solids. And if you'll look right there, you'll see the baffle wall.
Let's get in there. Oh, there it is.
And that's going to hold back a lot of the solids.
And okay, hold back from what?
Keep them continuing across the tank.
Okay.
Because they're coming from that way. So that wall goes all the way down, holds back a lot of the solids. It's got a little, did you see the little pipe going through the middle?
I think I did. Hang on, that pipe right there, that white one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
And why is because the clarified effluent is in the middle always, so it's in the middle from vertically.
Okay.
Then we've got your outlet T, which is equipped with an effluent filter and handle. This has to be cleaned annually. Pull it out.
Ooh, cool.
Tap it. Tap it or rinse it. Slide it back in, and then you're good to go.
And it'll be cleaned of just different debris and stuff that gets in it.
Yeah, and if you don't clean that, you will back up, and your toilets will stop flushing.
Fun.
And then we exit the tank. Now we're able to go to 1%.
Okay. This is 1%, 1/8 inch a foot drop, just because it's just liquids at this point, right?
Yeah, so that's the minimum here. You can drop, more than that, but that's your minimum.
And the minimum was probably necessary because I have pretty flat ground, right?
Oh man. Anyway, we flow 1% to here.
So 1%, and what is this lid now?
This is your distribution box. So you can check this all the time. I leave it like this for the inspector. But you've got your inlet and your 3 outlets. You can adjust these. You could shut this top line off just by doing that. Now it's not going to receive any water because you see the orifice.
Yeah, yep.
So as I turn it up.
Okay.
So right now I'm setting them all the way down.
So they receive everything.
Yeah, so the arrow up, so they all receive the same. And then ultimately this will be like this. But for now.
For the inspector.
Yeah, just because you don't want them to have to lift any concrete.
Okay. Those were 3 outlets, and those are going to what?
The 3 laterals, the 3 chamber rows.
And what are they? What would I know them as? What do they do?
They're old school terminology would be soil would be leach field. So this is where the ground takes the water.
Whatever gets into here is
Evenly.
dispersed through these 3,
Yep.
hopefully evenly.
And if you see more growth on the bottom, you can dial these to change that.
Growth as in vegetation?
Yep, because that means it's getting more water. So if you shouldn't, but if you see more growth on one side or the other, you just adjust these until your growth's even.
Okay. Water exits and it hits these pipes. What is it doing here? Is it leaching out?
Just drops into the void of that half dome chamber, and it has all that area. So each line here is about 700 gallons of capacity underground. Now that'd only be full if you were failing, but the effluent is going to fall into the void of that chamber, and it's going to run across the bottom of the bed that we excavated. Trench, but basically a wide trench, it's called a bed. And this isn't actually a bed, but it's just the bottom of chamber excavation is what it would be.
Okay.
Now
So
when you stack 2, 3 next to each other, then it is a bed. And this may be a bed.
you and I were talking earlier, and you said that my tank is rated for a 5-bedroom house. Could
Yeah,
be. But
this
this
is
isn't.
This has only been designed for 3.
So 1 per bedroom? Is that what this calls for?
It's in, I don't know. It's going to be on the square footage of
Okay.
distribution underground.
Okay.
But you could, layman term, you could kind of figure it that way, I guess. But to be sure, but yeah, that's what makes it so easy. You can add right in here. See these extra port?
Yep.
2 more. You can add right in, go out, and put another line in, and that'll be determined by the engineer.
If I wanted to put another bedroom in my house, I'd call you, call an engineer, and we'd get this thing set up.
Yeah. So
there's one
they don't
chamber.
have to be perfectly straight. We try to keep them straight. This one turned out the best, but they can squiggle around.
And that's just a void under there,
that's
huh?
all it is.
So it's just ground underneath. There's no
Yep.
pipe or anything running in there.
It's basically what the gravel in the old days used to do, but now
I
they got
see.
the void all together. Because the gravel in the old days had all the voids around the rock.
So this would be 20 years ago or whatever.
Right.
We would see a bed of gravel instead of these plastic.
Yep.
And now the next step is to what? Get it inspected.
Yep.
And then what?
Backfill it. And then
So we're just going to bury this in native dirt? What's going on?
we got to put that crusher fines
Oh,
in, and it's got to go.
that's
It's got to
saying
go
there.
right to the top of here.
Okay.
So it's got to go to the top of the chamber. And then we backfill, and the only other thing is we just do some drainage swells around the top for surface water diversion.
I really appreciate it.